Hello and welcome hackers, welcome to the course. So in this course you'll learn how to hack an Android device using a malicious app. So you need to see here on the right we have an Android computer and on the left we have the hacker's computer system. So what the Android user will do is start a program that doesn't seem to work, but once we are looking in the hacker's computer we will be able to do all kinds of things. For example, we can get information on the system, and we can run all kinds of commands using this command line interface. So you can install applications, read text messages, check the call log, and record the microphone, and so on. We have just hacked the Android device with a single click. And so in this course you will learn how you can hack Android devices using malicious software. It's a beginner's course, so we'll go over all the basics like getting the computer systems. Now, depending on setup, you might want to use physical devices, so a real Android phone, a real Android tablet, or you might want a complete software devices. It really depends on your preferences. So we'll go over both setups and how you would create such a malicious app, and also you can set it up. So in this case, it's all running on local network. We'll go over all the basics to hack an Android device using this method. On an Android device, you can install apps. You can install any apps. Apps will be in APK format. So here we go to the screen for the apps. You're probably familiar with this if you used Android a lot of time. So let's remove that. A user can install one or more apps on their device. Now, sometimes these apps can be malicious. Sometimes these apps can be bad. In case of such a bad app, it would just take one click for their device to be hacked. For example, we have an app here. Now we can double click on it. And we don't really see anything change on our device. It just seems like an app that doesn't work. We clicked on it and that's it. Now, let's take a look at the hacker's view now. So you'll see here, session opens, Meterpreter session opens. And from here, the hacker can do all kinds of things with the device. For example, he can start applications, uninstall, and so on. He can do more Android specific commands, for example, getting your call records and contact lists, reading your messages, getting your physical location, and a lot of things that you would do with your Android device. So he can do this remotely using this command line interface. You just type a command and then the Android device will do it. For example, we can list the apps here. Rather harmless command most of the times. We can list the apps on the device and you'll see now everything that is installed in this Android device. But he can also start things. For example, let's enlarge this a bit. Let's start a music application. So let's see what that command was again. We type help, app run, paste, and look what happens once we press enter. So let's get out of this to the main screen, close everything, and the hacker will now press enter, and you'll see the Android device is just starting the music app. We can start any app he wants. So those are some of the more innocent things. They can do a lot of more malicious things like getting the calls, sending messages in your name, and geolocation, like getting your physical location, getting your contacts, recording your microphone. So you might have the phone in your hands or in your room and the hacker might be recording everything that you are saying, or even starting a video chat. Can take screenshots, so seeing what you're doing. You also see screen share here, which means that they can watch what is happening on the Android device in real time. Can also do some system commands like browsing your files. Maybe you have some pictures or other things, so they can download and upload those. You see here, there's an upload command. They can download files, so they can download your pictures, your videos, everything on your device. So let's run this sysinfo command. It shows you system information. And you'll see, okay, this is an Android device, which we already knew, right? So this command line interface allows them to remotely control your Android phone or Android tablet. And you might wonder, okay, why is all that possible? What happened here? So all of that is possible just for one simple mistake. The user here, they installed a bad application or a bad app on their device. So if you go to the apps here, all it takes is one bad app that the user clicks, and it gives the hacker complete control over your Android device. And it only takes one click. Now, Android has some security mechanism in the system where it might say, okay, are you sure you want to install this? And this app might be might be malicious. But if you ignore it as a user, if you just install OK, and then run the app, it could be that you're giving a hacker complete control over your device. Now in the next video, we'll go in a more practical view of how this works in practice. But basically that is the mistake here, to install any app and run it. So just a single click and it gives complete access over their device. And we really can do anything we want with that device. And like, we have complete control. So we can do whatever we want with that device. So if you use an Android device, a tablet or a phone, and you want to stay safe, don't click or install random apps and click on them, because all it takes is one bad app that can take over your whole phone. That's all it takes for a hacker to get into your phone. It's just one bad app. Hey hackers and cybersecurity enthusiasts. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Frank, your instructor today. Before we do any hacking, we need the right tools. So in this case, we need an Android device. This can be a real device like an Android phone, an Android tablet, or it can be a virtual machine, a virtual computer. You'll see here I have a computer, an Android computer inside my computer. Either one will work. Besides the Android computer or Android device that we are going to hack, we'll need to have the right tools. So in this case, you'll see we have a system here that has Kali on the background. So that is a computer system for hacking. You'll need to have this tool in order to do the hack, right? Because we use this tool, we use the terminal and use some commands here to get into the Android device. And so we need to have this Kali system available. Now you can download this for free. So if you go to the website kali.org, you can download this computer system. And there's many ways that you can install this. One way is to have a device that you can buy a device where you install it directly onto that device. You can run it in a virtual computer, as I'm doing, using a tool called VMware or VirtualBox, or there's some others that do that as well, where you can have computers inside computers. Then there are some other options. You can run it on special processors, you can run it on mobile device, like on another Android device. You can run it in the cloud, or you can have a USB stick. So in that case, you have a USB stick that you put into your computer, you restart it, and you have Kali Linux. So there's many ways to run Kali Linux, and which you use really depends on your preference. There is no single best way. It depends on what makes sense to you. Now, if you don't have an Android device or you just want to play around with virtual machines, you can download Android from android-x86.com. So like this, you can click download. And then once you download it, you can have Android on your computer using a virtual machine. So here we have Android running on our computer. And you'll see it's the same Android system, but unlike a tablet or an iPhone, it's now running on the computer, which is great for screen recordings. It's really smooth and great for recordings, but you can also use it to play around in case you don't want to hack your real Android device or tablet. You can hack your virtual Android device here. So you can get that from android-x86.com and then just load the image and start it. So how you set up your hacking lab is based on your own preferences. Maybe you want to play with a real Android device or tablet, or maybe you prefer virtual machines where you can easily start and stop different systems. It's really a matter of personal preference. Now, for a quick start, it can be quite useful for virtual machines because you don't need any devices. It works right away on your computer. It really depends on your personal preferences. Welcome back to the course. So one of the most easy ways to get the hacking tools, the software called Kali, is just download it from the internet. So you can go to a website called kali.org. If you go to the website kali.org, you can just download it. And to run this software, you can install it on a USB stick or on your computer. So that's one possible setup. So for your hacking setup, you could have a physical computer running Kali Linux and a separate Android, iPhone, or tablet. There's also another way to set up a hacking lab with virtual machines, which we'll go into the next video. In this video, we'll just discuss how to get Kali running on a regular computer. And then, of course, you would need an Android phone or Android tablet at your disposal. So we click download and then scroll down in this list. It says choose your platform. So you can install Kali to a USB live boot. Remember, it's www.kali.org. So click Live Boot and then download the 64 byte image. Now this is quite a large image, like 4 gigabytes, so it might take some time depending on your internet connection. So once that is completed, you will need a USB stick, which is at least 4 gigabytes, because you'll see here this image is 4 gigabytes. So you need a large USB stick, like 4 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes, or maybe a little bit larger, to put that computer system onto. And then once it's on the USB stick, you can restart the computer you want to use Kali on and choose Live. You'll see Live here, so it won't install anything to the computer, but it will start the Kali computer system, which has all your hacking tools at your disposal. And so just download it. You can then write it to a USB disk. So to do that, we'll use a tool called Etcher. So on the website www.balena.io/Etcher, you can click download directly or go to that website, etcher.balena.io, and click download. So then download the version for your system. So if you're using Windows, download the Windows version. And using Mac, download the Mac version. And for Linux, download the Linux version. So you'll see here I'm on a Windows PC, so I'm getting the Mac version. So that takes a second or so to download, depending on your internet speed. And then what you're able to do is plug in your USB stick and start the program. And with that program, you can write the downloaded Kali image onto your USB stick. And so it will take a moment to open here. You'll see it starting. With that program we downloaded, we'll be able to write it to a disk. So you see we downloaded Kali here. Let's go to the downloads directory and we open Balena. Okay, you'll see this program has some installation issues, so let's go for the installer instead. So Windows installer, downloads. So it takes a moment or so. And then it's just a tool. There are other tools like this, but it's just a tool to get that Kali image, the system, the computer system, onto a USB flash drive. And so let's actually start it. So we start the setup. And we'll just install Balena to our computer. You see, in this case, it's already running. So installing, and once the install is complete, we'll have a program that you can download any computer system and write it to a USB disk. So that can be Kali, but also other systems like the Android one or other computer systems, maybe Linux systems and various others. In this case, we're just interested in Kali Linux because that computer system comes with a lot of hacking tools and we'll use some of them to hack into an Android phone. So let's minimize this and you'll see this is how it works. So you click Flash from File and then you want to go to your downloads directory and select Kali Linux. And then you'll see select target. Now in there you can select your USB flash drive. So your USB stick, if you have one. So in this case, I don't have one, but if you have one, you click select and finally you click flash and it writes the Kali software, the computer system onto a USB disk. So you just select here your target, your drive, and then you click flash and it will create your Kali USB stick. Now the next thing to do is to use that USB stick on any computer you want to do hacking. Just plug it in, restart the computer and start from the disk. Now, depending on your setup, it will start automatically from the USB stick, or you might need to press one of the function keys to start from the USB stick. So it might be F9, F10, F12 or F1, F2, one of those keys. Sometimes they let you choose what device you want to start from or what disk, and then you want to select the USB flash disk. So once it's done writing this software to the disk, you'll just want to restart the computer to do hacking. And then of course you need a separate Android device to do that hacking. So this is one possible setup. If you don't have a separate computer or don't want to buy a USB stick, you can use virtualization, which we'll talk about in the next video. Hey hackers, welcome back to the course. I'm Frank and today we're diving into the world of ethical hacking using our favorite computer system, Kali Linux. Of course, you will need to have Kali Linux by now. The first thing is setting up the stage. We need to have the right tools for the right job. Without tools, we can't do anything. So the tools we'll use in this course are all included in Kali Linux. Make sure you have it fired up, that you have it either installed or running from a live USB, or perhaps in a virtual machine. So if you don't have it installed yet or don't have it in your computer, make sure to do that first before you go on in this video. Once you're ready, let's roll. So first thing we'll need to do is to start a terminal, because the program we'll use is a terminal program. So we start a terminal here, and we use a program called MSF Venom. This program generates malware, so it can generate a program that lets us take over someone else's computer or mobile device. So if we run this command, it will take a moment. It will tell you all of the bad programs it can generate. So if we press enter, this is just going to take a moment. And there you have it. It can generate bad programs for Windows. Now all kind of different variants, as you can see here. If you scroll up in this list, you'll see that there's really a lot of Windows possibilities. Now I'm going to scroll up here, and you'll see there's other systems, for example, Mac system, OS X. If you scroll up, there's Linux variants, but we are looking for Android, so it's probably all the way on the top. You see some Java here. So it can really generate malware for many platforms, and we are interested in Android. So keep scrolling. We can scroll a bit faster if you want. So you see all kind of malware possibilities. And on top here, there's several possibilities for Android. So let's go with the interpreter shell. So we're gonna pick this one. Right click copy. And now we'll use MSF Venom to generate the malicious software. So -p will specify that we want the Android target system. Then we need to specify that the victim's computer or the victim's Android tablet or phone will connect to our machine. So this can be either that we're on the same network, or you could have a public internet address where you can do it. If you, for example, if you use a cloud computer, they can then connect to your cloud computer. They need to be able to connect to your computer. So we type lhost, and in this case, I'm on the same network. So I'm just gonna show our IP address, our device address or network address, copy it. It will be different on your computer if you type this command. So this is a network address. If you want to, if they're not on the same computer network, you'll want a cloud IP address so that they connect to your cloud IP. In this case, we assume that they're on the same network. So we copy the address, our network address of our device. You want to specify the communication port or the communication channel, which is a number. So we type L port and then a number between 1 and 60,500 something. We're just gonna pick 444. It's a very common port. Then we type R greater than and the program name. I'm gonna name it bad.apk. That's the Android format, APK. So with this command, the whole command here, it will create a bad program, so-called Trojan horse or malware. The file we create will be bad.apk. You can of course change the file name, and the idea is that the user installs that on their computer. It starts it, and then once it starts it, we have control over their Android phone or tablet. So press enter, and let me open the file explorer here at the same time. So you'll see there's no file here. I'm gonna press enter now, and you'll see it's generating the malicious program. Now it can take a moment, and you'll see depending on the system. Now we have an Android program that we need to get onto the user's device. One way to do it is of course send them a link, like install this game, install this, whatever it is. You could do it yourself. You can install the program yourself if you have access to the Android device. Or you can trick the user. So those are the methods usually used by hackers to get this program onto their devices. So you need to do some trickery. It can also be that they upload it to some app store and then the user unknowingly installs it. So there's different ways that hackers can get malware or malicious software or even virus or bad software onto devices, similar to with Windows or other platforms. For Android it's the same. It's possible that the user installs the application. If they just do that and do one click, their device will be hacked. So we made a malicious executable, a malware application or a malware app that the user needs to install on their Android device. So because we're on the same network, I'm just gonna copy it over. This is just for demonstration purposes. So I'm gonna start a network server here that allows me to download this file. You see it started the network server. And we're gonna start and download that file to our device. Now, because the modern Android system, they have internal security updates. These are that it will ask you to block the application and so on. So we're gonna just ignore that and to install it. So type the network address of your Kali system. So this will show you the network address, and we're going to type this address. And we'll use communication port 8080. You'll see here I specified that. So with this command it starts a network server that allows us to copy the file onto our Android device. See, it's not even connected to the internet. Okay, so you should see a screen like this, and we'll download the application to our device. bat.apk, download link. You might see a message. So we need to download that file to our device. And you'll see I just downloaded the program to our device. You can see it in the files. If you go to files, you should see the program is now on the device. Now remember that I told you it will connect to our address, to our network IP. So we need to actually start listening for a connection, which we can do. So we use another tool called Metasploit console. Now that will take a moment to start. And we'll listen for a connection. So the device will connect to our computer and then basically tell our hacking computer, you can do whatever you want. So we type some commands here. And we set the payload to the one we used before. So we set the same payload as the MSF Venom program before. We set our IP address. Again, the same as before. The port was 4444. Type run, and we wait for a connection. So if everything went well and we start this application, we'll be able to remotely control the Android device. Let's try to start it. So you'll see Chrome or Android is trying to block it. Let's say we ignore it and we're just gonna install it. Gonna click allow. Okay, so click allow, and then we'll try to start the program again. So here we have the bad app. Let's try to run it. And okay, the user here will click OK. The screen is a little bit small, but you'll see there's a next button. So it clicks next and clicks install. And you'll see Android has some security or antivirus stuff by default. And you'll see it's blocked, but we're gonna click install anyway. Click done. And now let's start the application. And we're gonna click install. Install anyway. Okay, the app is installed. Going back to the home screen. Can remove all of this. We'll go to the list of apps, and you'll see the app is here called main activity. So double click. And you'll see something changed here on the program, but something wrong. So the thing that's wrong here is the payload. So if we block this, we need to change the payload to Android/meterpreter/reverse TCP. So you have to be very careful that the payload is exactly as in the MSF Venom command. click run again. We're gonna move it to the side here. The payload must be exactly the same. So once you've done that and start it, you'll see now it opens the Android reverse shell. We can now remotely control the Android device. For example, let's see what commands we can do. We can type help. We can install app, we can list apps, run apps, uninstall apps. We can do things with the device like get the location, dump the text messages, see which calls have been done. We can get the contact list. You can take over audio and video, for example, start a webcam or start a microphone. You can take screenshots, and basically you have full control over the device. For example, we can list the apps. So we would just type the command and press enter, and we can see which apps are installed on the device. Now mind you, here the device is not in our hands. The device is with the user, and we are remotely controlling it through that app. So it's one of the commands you can do. You can install, uninstall apps. You can also run certain apps. So for example, if we list the apps, we can run any of these apps. So let's see if there's something, for example, the phone dialer. We would copy this, paste and press enter. And you'll see now it starts the phone dialer for calling phones. And of course you can start anything you want. Maybe to start something else. You could just pick the name and start it. And you would just copy it and paste it, and it would start the app. Now, let's close this thing here. And there's a lot of commands you can run. So you can also browse the file system. So if we list the files, you'll see there's a directory here. And there is some stuff on the device. But you can browse around on the files of the device as well. You can check if the device is rooted, so if the device has been messed with. You can get a shell into the system, and basically you have full control over the device. If I type sysinfo, you'll see that indeed it's the Android system. So we are remotely controlling the Android device.